Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast with Daniel and
Aaron.
There we go. Okay, so we have another fun one. Very relevant, actually, right now. And interesting, because it's hit us a little bit later in the season than normal.
Yeah.
But always really good. And one of the top episodes, if you haven't gone back and listened, to 2024, the episodes that have come out, the beginning ones. But one of the most popular episodes was how to control rodents the proper way, right? The right way. And today we're going to go over something from PCT Magazine. They come out with these studies every once in a while, and this one is actually on rodents. So the rodent control market. They ask quite a few different companies throughout the United States on what they're seeing and really what's going on in our market today. Once again, you can go and subscribe to PCT. No, we're not getting paid to do this. We're just throwing it out there because we're using their material. So, but they are a good magazine to actually go and get and to learn from. You're not going to get all the information you may need from other sources. There's a lot better sources out there, but PCT is a good one to have and always to good, just to read through real quick on their monthly magazines. And they also have an app. So even if you don't want a paper copy, you can go on the app and actually get it for nothing. So, and you can read all of these and you can actually go through exactly what I'm going through, which is the 2023 rodent control market. Yeah. You can actually go find that on their app. All right, let's get back into it. Always fun. Let's see what Aaron knows. Are we going to have a new segment now?
I like it.
Yeah, like we're going to throw you through the ringer.
No, I love being wrong too, so I don't care making myself look like an ass. Keep throwing them at me.
Okay, ready? So we'll jump into this. So respondents who said yes, their company location offers rodent control services. So out of the West, South, North, East, and Midwest. Oh, I think we already went over this. So if you remember it, you can just throw it out there. Who was the top that offers rodent control services?
See, I actually don't remember this. My
West. Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. My assumption would be Northeast, like getting into like New York and that kind of area.
Okay.
Like real heavy metro areas.
Which actually, I know where your head's at, and it makes sense. I know the numbers, so it's unfair. That makes a lot of sense, but also I can see why it's not, because it scares a lot of people if they screw up. If they have a bad experience, and they're like, nope, we're done with rodents. You got to call somebody else. We don't even want to do with it. We don't know what we're doing. We're scared to learn. We're scared to mess up. Nope.
Yeah, I just think of, again, if you're from that area, please let us know. But I'm imagining you're in a like concrete jungle. There's no trees, no nothing. You're like the 20th floor in a utility closet, and there's like a roof rat in there, and it's like, what the hell's going on? Yeah, that's interesting to me. It's like, how the hell do you even figure that out? Where do you start?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've learned a lot about that. But yes, I mean, I would know kind of where to start and where to look. But yeah, no. So actually, the number one place is West. So 100% in the West. But it's easy. Throw some bait stations. Throw a couple rat traps out, right? So everyone offers it. Are they actually doing the proper job? Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. That's where I think it starts to lower in the South, Northeast, Midwest, where it may be even more prevalent in those areas, but it's harder to get rid of. So then they start to back away. Sure. Now, Midwest, I can see with a lot of farms and farming, they may not offer it because of any secondary kills or any, livestock getting into some of those poisons. So they may not offer it in those areas.
Sure.
The other thing is because the government puts a lot of restrictions on the Midwest when it comes to farming, they may not be allowed to have certain rodenticides on site.
Makes sense.
So they may not offer it for those reasons. Yeah. So that makes sense why Midwest is probably a lot lower. I could be so full shit too.
Yeah.
So I could be so wrong on every level on that. But I can just see it because they do restrictions even here in California on some of the government jobs. They're very restricted on you can't even use rodenticides at a building. Mm-hmm. So of course you're going to have problems with rats.
Yeah.
and mice and everything, but we can't put rodenticides out. So what do you expect? So that's where that sits. Over the past year, have the number of rodent infestations in your location market area increased, decreased, or remained the same?
Increased.
60% said increased. 38% remained the same, and 2% had a decrease, which they probably are the ones that did suck at doing it, and they just didn't get calls back.
Just like the bed bug one in the last episode. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like, it's not. Okay, so busy season. When do you think is the busiest season overall between the Northeast, Midwest, South, and West? Okay. Fall, winter, summer, spring, or no seasonal difference?
I'm going to vote winter.
Okay. It is actually tied for second.
Oh, damn.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The top one is fall at 31%. And the other one tied for second is no seasonal difference.
Okay.
Yeah, where summer and spring went down, which is very interesting. We actually saw an increase in summer last year of rodent calls. So we actually had more rodent calls during the summer than we ever have over the last year. So that's been an interesting one too.
Yeah.
But also when you do get a hot summer, it would make sense why they try to go into homes because it's nice and cool, AC, stuff like that. So I could see that. Now, you said winter. Winter in the South is number one at 33%.
Yeah.
Right? Now, fall in the Midwest is at 59%. So guys, if you agree with this, I want to know.
Yeah.
So give us your opinion on some of this stuff. Message us, so you can message us directly on Instagram or email us. In the Northeast, number one was fall at 30%. Nope. Sorry. Let me back up. I keep forgetting this last one. The Northeast is actually 38% is number one with no seasonal difference. That's where they're getting such a high one.
Wow.
Yep. And then the West is also at 33% with no seasonal difference, which if you take away 2023 and we were just going off of 2022, I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. I would say, that I would agree that winter is probably the top one, which 27% said on the West side is winter is the top. 27%, 33%. Now, from what I saw from 2023, I do agree that there is no seasonal difference. Mm-hmm. I think it is all year round. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, moving on. What do you have? Any opinions on that? You agree with it? Disagree?
I don't know enough to agree or disagree with it. Just based on what we have. I mean, you're right. We did jump a ton in the summer, but we were also a lot more proactive at doing those check-ins and offering those extra services. A lot of people didn't know some of the rodent services we offer. We were pushing that with a lot of the new customers.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're going to kind of jump around on this page. We'll go to the fun stuff first. So which type of products / services does your location use to control rodents? What do you think the top one was?
Well, I remember this one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, this one was bait stations, right?
Yep. Number one. Number two.
Snap traps.
Yes. Number three, which is stupid because it goes with number one. But anyway, number three.
Goes with number one.
Yeah, it does. It actually goes inside of number one.
That's the dumbest. Okay, so rodent bait.
Yep. So block baits.
Okay.
Stupid.
Okay.
But okay. I mean, nope, never mind. If you're throwing them up in an attic, which you should not be doing, but if you're throwing them up in an attic, I guess block baits by itself. Okay.
Yeah.
But those go inside the bait stations. Number four.
It's got to be exclusion.
Nope, not yet. Come on. Come on. What do you think?
Bait stations, trapping, bait box.
Snap traps, not just trapping. So they're snap traps. They're very specific.
Okay. So you got me. What is it?
Glue traps.
Oh, that high.
Yep. And then exclusion. And then I'll kind of jump through some of these other ones quickly. So exclusion is actually at 69%. Glue traps are at 70%. Block baits are at 76%. Snap traps, 81%. Bait stations, 91%. Now there's a massive decrease from exclusion to soft baits, and even bigger decrease to multi-catch curiosity traps, what they call them, tin cats, if you guys know them by that. Tracking powders are at 27. So really from soft baits to tracking powders, it drops over 22% difference. So a 50% difference between those.
So interesting.
Yeah, it literally drops down to almost nothing. Then liquid baits, place pack baits, which are pretty much non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
Non-toxic monitoring bait blocks, which would be what makes the poop fluorescent, goes down to nothing. Repellents, which every company, if you've ever gone to any, like Bell Labs, their rep would tell you don't even do a repellent. Mm-hmm. Rodent Academy tells you don't do it. The only time the Rodent Academy ever told me to say use a repellent is if it goes into a hole and the rat has an option to go right or to go left. The only time you would use a repellent is if you did not want it to go right or you did not want it to go left. And you're forcing it in a direction so you would catch it. That is the only time you would use a repellent. Outside of that, you would never use a repellent.
On that note,
Yeah.
you just block the other side.
Or you could block the other side.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, if it was a small hole, you could only get the repellent in to the left.
I see.
But yes, if you could just block it, then that's exactly what you would do, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so electronic monitoring device. What are we, homeowners now? Carbon dioxide, which I have used in tunnels, rodent tunnels before.
Yeah.
Not yet. And I would agree, 7%, very, very low. Fumigants. I'm pretty sure you have to have a hazmat suit for fumigants on this stuff to kill rodents. They do have them. There's actually another powder, but it's like a danger warning or warning label. And if they like lick their paws, they're dead.
Dang.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. So if you want to kill rats like really, really quick, and I guess back in the day, they would sprinkle this stuff in attics everywhere. And so a rat would go up there and just dead. And I'm sure there's some attic guys that have died too because of it. Yeah, insane what they've done. But they got rid of that. They made that, so it's almost illegal. Fertility control / sterilization. I actually had an episode on that. Mm-hmm. I talked to the rep. I was very curious. I thought it was a pretty cool idea until I learned the price. Then I realized it was really stupid. So yeah, I won't get into the pricing because it doesn't even matter. There's no way anybody would pay for it. Electric shock traps at 3% and dry ice at 1%, and then other at 5%. I don't know what other is.
BB gun.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. There's a thing I watch on YouTube. It's like this guy that has he does it for farms.
Uh-huh.
And he just takes out like invasive rats. He has like an infrared camera on. It's pretty cool. It's satisfying.
And he's just sniping them.
Yeah.
Oh really?
I think it's like a high powered like pellet gun. But it's a situation where there's always going to be rats. It's just they just call him out to just lower the population.
Yeah, he
just comes out and just collects just a bunch of heads and
no way
the next farm.
He just sits there at night all night long.
It just shows him it's just through the point of view through the scope.
Yeah,
and it'll show them like jumping in and out of the feeding areas, like wherever the livestock eat.
Yeah,
and he's just picking them off, probably 10, 15 per little short clip.
Oh, really? You just taking them out.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a ton of fun, actually.
I agree.
That would be a ton of fun. I mean, you're never going to kill them all. Good luck. But yeah, just popping them like that. That's cool. Man. Okay. So yeah, that is their rodent control. Exclusion should be option number one. Now, customers obviously can deny that service and not choose it, but exclusion should be way higher than the 5th on the list.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then right behind that should be bait stations and snap traps.
Yeah. I'm glad you hit on that, because I was thinking about, we've done really well with our Holy Trinity. You know, people ask what we do for rodents, and obviously we do offer some of the other options, but
Yeah.
the main core of it is trapping, exclusions, and bait stations.
Yes.
And it's hard to rank it, because there's some places where exclusion and trapping is more necessary, but bait stations are still a good part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where some cases the presence of bait stations is a huge part to gain control over the situation. But
Yeah.
a combination of those three is typically what our rodent control program consists of.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have everything from controlling the population outside to controlling the population inside and to protecting the home or building so they can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, it's very, very simple, but it works.
Yeah.
It works very, very well. Now, another thing that they had on this article is the power of clean. I'm not going to read, all of what they said here, but there was, I wish I knew his name, but cleanliness is huge for rodents as much as for cockroaches as well, or any pests that we typically deal with, especially pantry pests. But cleaning and sanitizing an area is huge.
Yeah.
A dumpster area, he gave, essentially an example of a dumpster area. And he said, if you put a bait station by a dumpster, what makes you think the rat's going to go to that bait station? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're out of your mind. Maybe you'll hit it once or twice, but it has a plethora of food in this massive dumpster that a restaurant is dumping every single night, fresh food in some cases. Like, why would it go to your bait station?
It's like putting salad in front of steak and lobster.
Yeah. It's like, what do you? Well, actually, some people would argue against that.
You get my point,
but I get your point. Yeah. Others may not.
Yeah. The analogy was there.
But that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, why would they go there? And what he talked about is cleaning. And sometimes we, as pest control professionals, we do not understand that is so crucial. Mm-hmm. You take away their food source. You literally not only take it away, you clean it and sanitize it. They're going to hop in that dumpster and say like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like,
it's nothing.
There's nothing here to eat. Like, I'm going to have to go out and eat the freaking chalk in this black box. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like they'll go eat it. So when you're hitting a situation where it's rough and you're not getting the population control that you should, you need to find a different scenario.
Yeah.
You need to either learn how to move those dumpsters away from areas so they can't get into them, or you need to clean them and then place out the bait blocks and do it that way.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing it that way, so cleaning is huge. They also go on to rodenticide usage and concerns. So hear what your peers say about their use of rodenticides. Okay. 66% of PMPs are concerned about impending EPA label changes for rodenticides. Do you feel the same way?
I'm not concerned about it. I expect it to happen.
I think 66% are either ignorant or old.
Yeah, it's like, of course it's going to change.
Yeah. Yeah, restrictions have happened over the years no matter what.
Yeah, I can't believe that's even a question on there.
Well, I think they're concerned because I'm lazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm lazy. I want it easy. I'm just going to throw some blocks around and we're calling it good.
Yeah.
So they're worried about the EPA label change, because if they change that label, it's harder to just easily kill rats. Now you have to learn exclusion. Mm-hmm. I bet exclusion, if you would have taken this a couple years ago, and they may have, I bet exclusion was down in the percentile, 13, 14%, maybe 25%. I bet it was low.
Because you had such a quick kill in the past.
Yeah, you could just go throw a couple, bait blocks, packets up in an attic and call it good. Throw them around the base of the house, call it good.
Yeah.
I did it in the past, and it worked. Mm-hmm. You put it in if you put the bait station in the right place, you would kill majority of rodents.
Wow.
Yeah, and they wouldn't hear anything up in the attic. Could they still get in? 100%. But you'd gain control.
Wow.
Shoot, we took over a company, and that's what they did. That's all they would do. And then when I came over and we took it over, it was like, no, I'm not just going to place out a trap, or I'm not going to place out a bait station. This is what we have to do. We have to do exclusion. And then we started gaining traction, control, and we've seen it just skyrocket in that area.
Yeah.
Because it works. But yeah, that's what they would do in the past.
Wow. Dang.
All right, ready? 36% have either modified or are planning to modify their rodent management program due to these upcoming changes. That is even more sad.
100%.
66% are worried, and only 36% are going to change. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough
For them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to lose a massive amount of business. 16% are less dependent on rodenticides than 5 years ago. That's it. Only 16% less are dependent on rodenticides. 22% are more dependent. 55% are holding steady with rodenticide use. Dang. So
I don't know how to feel about that.
So 55% are holding steady with rodenticides, meaning a majority are holding steady. 22% are more dependent, and 16% are less dependent on rodenticides than 5 years ago. I would say we're on the 16%. The 16, we do not use it as the main control. We use it as more of the preventative and to maintain what we just created and what we've just done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I agree.
33% have increased their use of non-toxic rodent control products / services in the past 12 months. That's an interesting one, because that is, are they meaning exclusion snap traps,
trapping?
Okay. Now that's good.
Yeah,
33%. We're getting there.
Good job, guys.
There should be like more 50%, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, I like that.
We're stepping out of the, out of line. That's okay. All right. So moving on. So this is rodent control a standalone paid service or included as part of your recurring service program?
What a wonderful question.
Part of recurring service program as a standalone service, and both of the above.
I really hope it's both of the above.
61% said both of the above, 21% said part of recurring service program, and 18% as a standalone service.
I only said both of the above because obviously a customer calls in just wanting rodent control. You obviously want them to know that we do service for insects as well, but not everybody wants to go on an ongoing insect or rodent control program. They want to take care of it, be done with it. That's fine. But still offer it. It still should be a part of your regimen. If someone's calling in and say, hey, what do you guys do for rodents? And you should be able to have something that provides them a feeling of ongoing service and commitment that we're going to take care of the issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And 21%, I do see that a lot. I do see where it's like, because we've purchased companies in the past, we're looking at purchasing more. As we go through these things, I always ask them, what are their services? Do you provide, any rodent exclusion or any rodent services? And they will always say yes. But then when you ask them, what is that? They're like, oh, we put bait stations. I'm like, okay, what else? Oh, and we'll put some traps out for them. And that's it. Like, that's your whole control method. Like, that's what you do. And it's like, yeah, that's what we do. We take care of our customers. It's like, you are not taking care of your customer.
Yeah.
You're hurting the situation more than helping. So yeah, I'm glad they do have both of the above. Compared with last year, how do you expect the percentage of revenue generated from your location's rodent control services to change this year? So increase, stay the same, decrease.
Increase.
Yeah, 61%. Stay the same, 34%, and then decrease is 3%. Yep, get rid of them, right? The 3. Let's see. What rodent control market generates the most income for your location? Residential, commercial, government, other, or no? No answer.
Ooh.
What do you think?
For us right now, it's residential.
Yes.
I think that at some point we're going to hit the point where the actual dollar amount, the commercial side of it, is going to be more than residential.
I think dollar amount per job we will, but I think overall we'll have more residential properties.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say that is construction today at some of the big government buildings that we're doing, they're sealed pretty tight. Cement, glass, metal. Rodent's not going through that. I mean, they may sneak in through a door. But even now the garbage enclosements are inside the building and they're only open during working hours, 8 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, so control in those situations are going to be pretty easy, and sanitation will be really easy.
Yeah.
You know? So I think residential will stay as where we're going to generate the most, but I think per job commercial will go to the top on that. This is for some people to get some numbers out there. This is interesting. So the median of typical price the pest management companies were charging in 2023 for residential control, rodent control job was $247. Midwestern companies on the low of $175. Western companies on the high of $350. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's hard. I think it's not enough. It's my first initial thought. But then it is case by case. Which region was the highest?
The West.
Yeah.
I feel they're pulling in a lot of very ignorant people once again. So you're getting the 247, you're getting 175, and that is literally bait station costs.
One trick pony.
Yep. They're not doing anything else. You're not doing exclusion. These numbers should be up into 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
You know, you should not be sitting that low.
Yeah.
But you also get a lot of guys who are like, oh, I'm going to start my own company. I could do it for way cheaper. And it's like, you're creating another job.
Yeah.
You're creating yourself a job. That's it. You're going super cheap. You're only making pennies on your profit. You're literally getting enough just to pay for your vehicle, your house, and that's about it.
Yeah. How's that 100 hours a week feeling?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, most of them don't even do that. They don't want to work that hard.
Yeah.
You know, so they barely make enough and they just get their route done, you know, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the month, and then they have a week off.
Just to endure. Sounds awful.
Well, and then you can never take a vacation. You can never thrive.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is you get a lot of, the entry level to get into pest control is pretty easy and pretty low. It's harder than most, but it's still low. But you get that where they're like, oh yeah, I could charge 175 and I'm going to make like $25. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're not going to grow that way. I mean, you can maintain, and then once you retire or die, then that's just going to get consumed by another company. But you're never going to do anything more than that.
Exactly.
You have to charge more. In the past 5 years, has rodent control become a more or less significant portion of your location's business?
More.
Yes, that is one. Yep. So 59%. Northeast was at 73%.
Job, guys.
Yeah, Midwest 54, South 55, and West 59. So everybody actually agreed on it's been more.
Good.
Greater importance, which with the changes in rodenticides, it had to be. So I think it was kind of a force of hand from the government too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What percentage of your location's overall service revenue in the last calendar year was generated by rodent control services? 50% or more, 30 to 49%, 10 to 29%, or less than 10%. What do you think?
What was the question again?
What percentage of your location's overall service revenue in the last calendar year was generated by rodent control services?
Ooh. And the answers were
50% or more, 30 to 49%, 10 to 29%, and then less than 10%.
I want to say 10 to 29%.
10 to 29%?
Yeah.
Is number one. Good job.
Thank you.
At 40%.
Yeah. I actually did not see that one.
No, we didn't go over this. Now, what's really interesting is the Northeast. Okay? Northeast, 27% said they made 50% or more off of this, which is insane and kind of scary. And they also had the highest at 30 to 49%. So almost half or more, or I should say, yeah, almost half or a little bit more than half came from rodent control. Interesting thing is only 93% of companies in the Northeast even offers it. So there's still 7% that are not. Now, 93 is still very high, but on the West, we're running at 100% of everybody they asked. And that's not everybody, of course, right?
Yeah.
Everyone they talk to. So you're saying the biggest majority of your revenue is coming from rodents and only 93% of people are even doing it that you asked? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it could be one of those maybe out there. And if you are out there, please let us know because we're a little ignorant over here in California. But maybe when people think of hiring a pest control professional, it's to exterminate rodents. And then bugs are kind of just not an afterthought, but, oh, cool, if you guys spray for bugs too, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, just like how we get the initial rodent calls and we treat it that way. Maybe those are most of the calls they're getting. Or a lot higher percentage of their calls are for rodent stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Yeah. Or they could just be charging a ton because of where it sits. And so that makes up a ton of their revenue because they're charging so much.
That's also true. I think about that.
You know, because they could be charged. Because I know companies out there, because I went behind one and they found like 2 Eve pockets that were open and like one other hole, and they were going to charge $2,000 for it. And I'm like, $2,000 for that? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I could do it for a lot less. You know, and that's not even trying to be lowballing them. It's just like, you're just gouging now.
Yeah.
You know, you're screwing them. What are you doing? Like putting up like gold plates? What is that? And it's on a shack of a house.
Yeah.
It literally was like 1,000 or less than 1,000 square foot home.
Oh man.
And they wanted to charge over $2,000 to seal up 3 holes.
It's brutal.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's kind of funky, but hopefully this gave you kind of perspective of what's kind of going on in your market, you know, especially when it comes to rodents and rodent control, you know, and even with the EPA, the rodenticides and what people are looking out for and seeing, you know, what changes or what they're scared of, what's going to happen. But diving into that gives you a lot of ideas and what a lot of people are using to take control of rodents and where that revenue is coming from.
Yeah.
And if it's even worth putting in there, like 10 to 39%, I think it was in the West was where, or 10 to, hold on, let me pull it back up. I put it down. It was 10 to 29%. In the West is 44%. Okay. 44% agree that it was 10 to 29% of your revenue. Okay, guys, we'll make it very, very simple. 10 to 29% of $1,000, 10% would be $100. 29% would be $290. Okay, let's go to $1 million a year. That means $100,000 is coming from rodent work, up to $290,000. It's a big number.
It is.
You know, so when you're sitting there thinking, should I do it or should I not do it? Even if you're only doing $100,000 a year, do you want $10,000? I'm sure you were going to say yes. I mean, why would you say no to that?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, really think about what that number can be for you and what it can add, you know, to that bottom line. And it's a service that you're already there. You're already doing pest control.
Exactly. Or if you're already doing rodent control, what else can you be offering? I know we've talked about adding value to each customer individually, but 2 simple things that we've added just in the initial interview conversation with the customer has brought in thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is asking 2 questions.
Yeah.
And it's skyrocketing.
Yeah. Well, I remember this was an old school tech, but he was saying, he's like, yeah, back in the day, we would actually charge to monitor bait stations. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Mm-hmm. I said, because I got to pay for the bait. And then we got to spend extra time monitoring them. Let's start charging them more. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we made, I haven't checked it recently, but off of maintenance fees on bait stations, we brought in over 10 grand just on maintenance fees because of that.
Whoa.
Because of that one change.
That's actually insane. Think about how small that dollar amount is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 10 grand. Now today we're probably sitting at 30 or 40 or even more, which is luckily covering the cost of all the bait, but yeah, isn't that insane?
That's wild.
It was over 10 grand. I was like, whoa. I'm like, that's kind of cool to go through the numbers and see that, how big of a difference that is, so I get what they're saying. And whoever's not doing that or including it into their service, you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
You're hurting yourself. You're not creating a premium service. You're not doing anything special for them. You need to charge them for that extra because you are paying money.
Yeah.
And if you're paying anything like we are for buckets of bait, it's in the 80, 90, 100 plus range for each vehicle just to have a bag or a bucket of bait.
Yeah.
So it's huge. And if they're going through that on a weekly basis, and some are, that it adds up very quick. That's $5,200 in a year.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And if you're not charging people for it, it's a lot of money wasted, just gone, disappeared, going right into bait, back into the manufacturer's hands.
Dang. Of course.
So pay attention to that. But exclusion would be my number one. Mm-hmm. Going back to those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, I agree with you. This is actually a really good topic for you guys out there for a Q&A that's coming out at the end of the month. If you don't have a rodent control program, or you do have one but think that you want to add services, let us know, because we share these episodes and we share these questions out there for us to collaborate on Instagram and some of our other platforms. And Daniel and I aren't geniuses. We don't know everything, but we're really good at trial and error and connecting the dots. And, we've tried a lot of different things that have worked and that hasn't. So please let us know what you guys are going on in your day to day. We have episodes dropping every Monday and Thursday. Thank you again for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.